story and what made you film?
Yes, great question. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for staying. The short to medium length story, origin story of this film is, it actually kind of goes back about 20 years. I enlisted in the military right out of high school. I wanted to be like my grandfather, not Ed Harris. My grandpa's name was Orville, and he is equally badass. And you know, we would go to this music in the park at our lake house, and if you were a veteran, you would stand. So that scene is kind of shot for shot from memory. And so I enlisted in the Army a month before 9/11, so great timing. And so yeah, that happened, and then 3 years later, it's my time to get out of the Army. It's 2004, we are a country at war, we're in Iraq, and there's this thing that's called a stop loss. Have you guys heard of that? Stop loss? Yeah. I mean, all the vets here are like, yeah, I know what that means. It means you can't get out of the Army. It means you sign up, but sorry, we're at war, you have to stay. So it was devastating news. I had all these plans to go to college, and we were told, no, you can't get out. You have to ramp up to go to Iraq with your unit. And then I get a phone call from a colonel, a battalion commander. This is like the head boss, and he calls me in his office, and this is not good. You don't want to be there. You know, you're in trouble. And he says, Sergeant, I've seen your films. And this is also not good, because I'm not supposed to be making movies. I was a paratrooper in the infantry. We don't mess around with that stuff. You do your mission. But I was always like sneaking a little high-8 camera, and then I would edit it in my barracks room with VHS tapes just to take myself and make these like super cool VHS sleeves and hand them out to the different soldiers in the unit. And I just did that for fun, and but I did it a lot. And I kind of got to be known as the battalion film guy. So then I cut back to my colonel, and he says, I've seen your films, and I think that they're special. I think that they do something for the morale, for the troops, and they're able to show their families what they do at work every day. So he said, listen up, Steph. I've made arrangements for you and only you to be relieved from this stop loss. I was the only one out of 1,000 people in my unit. He pulled some strings, and he says, you're not going to go to war right now. The way you're going to pay back to your battle buddies is by you're going to find the best film school in the world, one of the best. You're going to hone your craft, and you're going to tell the soldier story. And it was like, yeah, what do you do? What do you say to that? That's not it. The clock ticking. I mean, I saluted him. I said, yes, sir. And then I was on a mission, and I was driving off of Fort Polk like a few days later, making my way west. Fast forward 2.5 years, and I get into the film school at USC, pretty good one. And I got a letter from the Pentagon now recalling me to come back into the military. This is 2007. This is the surge. I don't know if you guys remember that. It's like, we're really going to win it this time. You know, I'm just looking at my vet friends here too. And so I had to drop out of USC for 18 months. It was so surreal. Get back into the Army, deployed to Iraq with the 1st and 160th Infantry. That's where I met RJ in Ventura, who you guys saw in the credits. And it was a tough deployment. It was a good deployment. It was bad. I brought everybody home. Very proud of that. And then, you know, it was about 2 years later, and I was kept in touch with RJ. We were friends. And I remember getting that phone call that I missed, you know, and saw Sonequa portrayed. So this is all to say, it's a very, very close to home, very true story.
Okay, wow. By the way, real quick, I know that there's a few vets out here, but how many other people? I mean, just by raise of hand, how many?
I'm sorry, yeah, you're right, Becky. If you're a veteran, can you please stand? Let's do it. Come on, everybody stand up.
Asked to join, or how did you get involved in this project and why?
Praise the Lord God above. I was asked to do this. Kyle sent me a letter. Me and my husband, Henrik is back there. Hey, baby. We were on a vacation. conversation, and this letter came through, and he told me that the letter moved me to such a degree, because he said, in the most eloquent, passionate, beautiful way, that, you know, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is what I'm trying to do, and this is why. And I feel that you might be the type of artist who might want to join me in this. I believe you understand that this is a service industry that we're in, the entertainment industry, and I believe you want to help impact the world and save lives as well. And so if I'm right, then would you stand with me and do this? And that's exactly, I mean, what an honor, you know what I mean? Like, that's exactly what I want to do. And it was a very easy, it was like, Lord, got it, yep. It was very like, yes. So that's how it happened. And I feel like that was only just it was like, what, 2 months before we shot. It was so fast, and before I knew it, I was there with him. And I really appreciate, like he said it, but before we even started the show, you know, pretty much everybody, they were vets, you know. A lot of the background actors were vets. Obviously, everybody in those fabulous group session scenes, you know, are real vets, and they opened up and they told me their stories, and I learned so much. I'm probably answering another question right now, but I'll just say it's changed my life, being able to bring your story to life. As an actor, sometimes you can get really selfish and sort of self-absorbed because you're trying so hard to create something. You're trying so hard to create a life, and you're having to dig into yourself to do it. But what I would dig in, and I would feel the depth of that pain, even for just that moment, and of course it's imagined, but I would look to him and I would know, but no, he actually went through this. This is actually his life. So you gonna suck it up and you gonna do what you gotta do. Because it's the least you can do. And listening to everyone, I also learned, you know, talk therapy is a big theme in the film. Kyle told us from the very beginning, all of us that decided to stand with him, it was like it was a very big part of my progression. And me getting out of those dark moments was talk therapy. So we need to be able, these soldiers need to be able to talk. But what I learned was how to listen. Because I learned that we don't listen. That's what a lot of them would tell me. You even told me this too. People would ask, so what was war like? I'll never forget when you told me that day. And he said, you can tell the moment that they glaze over because it's uncomfortable. And he said, you can tell the moment that they reach their phones because they're like, oh, I don't want to hear about this anymore, you know? And it's like, man, I had to learn how to listen too. So it's not just about them talking, it's also about us listening.
That reminds me of a story when we were doing the veterans rep work there, you know, with Morgan Freeman, and that we sit down, we sit in a circle, and it totally tracks for Sonequa and Natalie. By the way, how amazing was she? And how amazing we're sitting there in a circle, and to Sonequa's point about just listening and being a sponge, the way that we kicked it off is I asked everyone in that circle to stand, say what branch you served in, what you did, when, and everybody did that. And everybody in that group, as you saw in the credits, are real veterans, right? And so they would stand and they said, my name is Tom, Army, James, Marine Corps, Allie, Air Force. And we all went around the circle, and I kind of got to the end, and I said, Kyle, Army, and then the last guy was like, my name is Morgan, Air Force, you know, Freeman, you know, and and so, but then I remember Sonequa telling me how powerful that was for her, just to know that she was like surrounded by those people, and she had been listening to them, and in between takes they were all talking, so she was just such a sponge for all of that. She really honored us.
Well, and that was one of the things is I think we were hoping that Natalie would also be here, but the working with Natalie, and can you tell a little bit about what that play-by-play, particularly since supposedly you're talking for yourself, but I mean, just the interaction between the two of you, both in the actual Army scenes and in the ghost scenes.
I adore Natalie. I mean, is she not just so phenomenal? And she's such a powerhouse, and I feel that she sort of lives with her heart outside of her chest, but she's also just such a leader, and her and I really bonded, and it was a tough line to toe sometimes, because this is, what did she affectionately call herself? A guilt demon? And so, it was hard for us to find it sometimes, but because of her brilliance, she made it look effortless, right? And it was certainly effortless for me to connect with her, but it was very much like, okay, so where is Zoe and where is Merritt? Finding that, and we did a lot of interesting things on set. She's here, now she's not. She's over here, now she's not. We played with it, and it's elusive, but we just had a really good time with it as well, because you allowed us into this process. It still to this day blows my mind that this was his life and he allowed others to come in and speak on it. And allow these women to come in and tell it, and even the co-writers, AJ Bermudez and Cherish Chen, it's like, yes, they, like the fact that he allowed people to come in and collaborate on something so deeply personal. So the entire experience was marked by that collaboration and by that sense of togetherness. And so there were, how many huddles did we have with the three of us? Figuring stuff out, and him allowing us to invest, him allowing us to have our points of view, allowing us to add, allowing us to, sort of shift and turn. It was really phenomenal, and I think that's your readiness and willingness, your security and your courage, I think had a lot to do with how well the dynamic worked between Natalie and I.
Well, and I'm just going to mention the fact that he allowed it to be two women.
Yes.
And therefore is elevating women in the military as
There's a dearth of those stories.
Yeah, exactly. So that was, you want to
Sure, yeah, I'd love to answer that. The thing I wanted to dovetail what Sonequa said is Sonequa, Natalie, and Ed were all executive producers of the film as well. Sonequa and Natalie especially were incredibly involved, not only in front of the camera, but just as filmmakers as well. So when we were on set, speaking of collaboration, I'm big on have a plan, do your homework, have an idea, follow me, but then also what do you want to do? And every single time, it was just great. Sonequa was like, what if this? What if we were actually just watching the film up there, and the end when Merritt hits herself in the face, and that wasn't written. And Sonequa, this was late at night. We're out there in the middle of the boonies, and she's like, no, I think I want to do this. And I was like, are you sure? The space is so important to me. Don't miss up the space. And she's like, no, I think I need to. And then she did it, and it wasn't quite hard enough. And then I was like, okay, if you're gonna do it, fucking do it.
He was right, because I was scared. I was like, is that gonna be too much? I don't wanna overdo this. And he was like, no, if you're gonna do it.
But it just goes to show the collaboration. And then even at the very end, when Merritt and Zoe are in the graveyard, it's such an emotional scene. As an EP, we invited Sonequa over to our edit bay in Highland Park in LA, and sorry, we're in LA now, okay? And we watched her. Oh yeah, we're in Ocean County. Okay. She's like, what if we saw shots of Merritt and Zoe in Battle Royale, flashbacks in those moments? That's something that our amazing editor Allie Greer and I hadn't thought of. And anyway, so just to show the collaboration. I will quick. Sorry, I know we're wrapping it up.
We have the one question left, and this is going to be the last question. I'm sorry. You guys can. Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll be outside after. But
yeah,
I guess
just mention the groups that are involved in the event.
Yes, thank you for asking. So I know a lot of you here are from Legion M, so shout out to Legion M. And you guys saw all of the names in the end credits are Legion M members that have supported this film. So if you don't know about Legion M, educate yourself. about them, just amazing, 150,000 strong. You know, it's like the people, the fans, decide the films they want to make. And then our 3 impact partners. What's important about this film is that it's an impact film, social causes, it's entertainment, but then like something you can do about it. So every time for gun safety, the mission continues, Bob Woodward Foundation, these are amazing organizations. You should know about them. We have a whole impact campaign we're going to be doing with the film. And it's just so helpful. The last thing I'll say is what helps us as an indie film, there's no Netflix, there's no big studio, is we're coming out February 28th, which is amazing for an indie film, in theaters. Many people want to see it, so please tell your friends, please give us a review on IMDb and Letterboxd, and then I think she's going to say.
And yeah, Rotten Tomatoes, you can do reviews on there, and you've got ballots, everyone needs a ballot. And for those of you who are gonna wanna stick around, make sure you follow the instructions for people coming out, because there's a long line for the next film. So there'll be one door for you to exit and one door for them to be coming in, so just pay attention to what the ushers are saying. But for those of you joining us over at Newport House, it's just across the parking lot behind the theater.
Thank you all so much